would like to beg for all your blessings to speak something. I'm a little bit ashamed because also for most of us, our Gurudev is here, that I speak here from the Yasa-san, but please pray for me that I can be a representative for Gurudev to say something valuable for us. Actually, I prepared the lecture in German, but because I think almost everybody is speaking English, I try my best in English. But please forgive me, it will be maybe a little bit broken. I have to little bit think about some topics. Somebody don't understand English? Who is not understanding English? Only German?
Maybe you have to ask that in German.
Yes. spricht jemand kein Englisch? Geschorikund Mataji? Kannst du übersetzen, Subal? Okay, Subal will translate. Thank you very much. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, again, welcome everybody. We are here now in Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 4th canto, in chapter 20, and verse number 26. Let's recite at first the Sanskrit, then the word for word, then translation, and then we hear from Srila Prabhupada's purport. Yasha Shivam Sushrava Arya Sangame. Yasha Shivam Sushrava Arya Sangame. Yodrichaya Chopashrutite Sakrit. Yadrichaya again. Yodrichaya Chopashrutite Sakrit. Nice. Katham Gunojno Viram Medvina Pashum. Katham Gunojno Viram Medvina Pashum. Shriryat Pravavre Guna Sangrah Echaya. Shriryat Pravave Guna Sangrahechaya. Please repeat. Please. Mataji's. Somebody else? Okay, thank you very much. So now let's read the word by word. Yashaha, glorification. Shivam, all auspicious. Svava, O highly glorified Lord. Arya Sangame, in the association of advanced devotees. Yadrichaya, somehow or other. Cha, also. Upashnoti, hears. Te, your. Sakrit, even once. Katam, how. Gunajna, one who appreciates good qualities. Viramet, can case. Vina, unless. Pashum, an animal. Shri, the goddess of fortune. Yat, which. Pravavre, accepted. Guna, your qualities. Sangraha, to receive. Ichaya, which a desire. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. My dear highly glorified Lord, if one in the association of pure devotees hears even once the glories of your activities, he does not, unless he is nothing but an animal, give up the association of devotees. For no intelligent person would be so careless as to leave their association. The perfection of chanting and hearing about your glories was accepted even by the goddess of fortune, who desired to hear of your unlimited activities and transcendental glories. Purport. The association of devotees, Arya Sangama, is the most important factor in this world. The word Arya refers to those who are advancing spiritually. In the history of the human race, the Aryan family is considered to be the most elevated community in the world because it adopts the Vedic civilization. The Aryan family is distributed all over the world and is known as Indo-Aryan. In prehistoric days, all of the members of the Aryan family followed the Vedic principles, and therefore they became spiritually advanced. The kings, known as Raja Rishis, were so perfectly educated as Kshatriyas, or protectors of the citizens, and so greatly advanced in spiritual life that there was not a bit of trouble for the citizens. The glorification of the Supreme Lord can be very much appreciated by the Aryan family. Although there is no bar for others, the members of the Aryan family very quickly catch the essence of spiritual life. How is it that we are finding it very easy to spread Krishna consciousness among the Europeans and Americans? Prabhupada is asking. Is it so? History reports that the Americans and Europeans provide their capacity when they were anxious to expand colonialization, but at the present time, being contaminated by the advancement of material science, their sons and grandsons are turning into reprobates. This is due to their having lost their original spiritual culture, which is Vedic civilization. Presently, these descendants of the Aryan family are taking this Krishna consciousness movement very seriously. Others who are associating with them are hearing and chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra from the lips of pure devotees, are also becoming captivated by the transcendental vibration. Transcendental vibrations are very much effective when chanted among Aryas. But even though one does not belong to the Aryan family, he will become a Vaishnava simply by hearing the mantra, because the vibration has great influence over everyone. Maharaj Prithu points out that even the goddess of fortune, who is the constant companion of Lord Narayan, specifically wanted to hear about the Lord's glories, and for the association of the gopis, who are pure devotees. The goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, underwent severe austerities. The impersonalist may ask why one should bother chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra continuously for so many years instead of stopping and trying for Kaivalya liberation or merging into the existence of the Lord. In answer, Maharaj Prithu maintains that the attraction of this chanting is so great that one cannot give up the process unless he is an animal. This is the case even if one comes in contact with this transcendental vibration by chance. Prithu Maharaj is very emphatic in this connection. Only an animal can give up the practice of chanting Hare Krishna. Those who are not animals, but actually intelligent, advanced, human, civilized men cannot give up this practice of continually chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So Hare Krishna. So we have a very interesting verse here today, and also an interesting purport from Srila Prabhupada. So at first, if I meditated on this verse, I had unfortunately not much time, but I quickly read also the story how we came to this point. And if you allow me, I would like to give a short overview that we can enter a little bit into the into this scene, or to understand the context and a little bit the story behind what happened. In in this chapter where we are. And actually in this chapter, Vishnu is entering the sacrificial arena of Prithu Maharaj. And Vishnu was coming with Indra together to Prithu Maharaj. And then Vishnu started to speak to Prithu. And actually, Vishnu started with the topic, if somebody is hearing only even once from a pure devotee, let's gather at first this verse, what we have here at first, and then I go into the story. Prithu Maharaj is now Prithu Maharaj is telling to Vishnu now in this verse now where we are. If somebody is hearing only once from a pure devotee, and afterwards he's still leaving the association of devotees, then he should. Then he is like an animal who cannot understand the higher value, the higher purpose. And because we could say that, was ist Unterscheidungsvermögen? Weiß jemand? Discrimination. Because an animal don't have a spiritual higher discrimination. He cannot discriminate on a higher platform. That's why he's told this example. And afterwards he's telling an intelligent man, if somebody is really intelligent, have some clear mind, clear intelligence, then he would not be so, leichtsinnig? Somebody knows? Then he would not give up lightly in a whimsically like this path of Krishna consciousness, or to stay with devotees, with elevated devotees actually, who know about the supreme truth and can give us real happiness and the main value of life. And then we hear also in the verse, there is a very nice, we could say like an example from Lakshmi Devi, from Goddess of Fortune. And she is, what is anerkennen? She is, how to say, she's, I don't know this word, anerkennen, somebody knows? She's acknowledging the Vollkommenheit, the perfection of hearing and chanting. And afterwards it is also described that she has a big desire to hear the transcendental glories and the activities of the Lord. It's actually like, we could say like an example for us. And we can see, actually we know she's residing with Narayan, but still she has such a devotion, and she should be a very nice example for us, because here in Bhagavatam is given Lakshmi Devi, that she is very, very eager to hear about the Lord. And this should be also our mentality. Even if we know different topics of the Supreme Lord and maybe understood some parts, we know maybe by heart, but still we should try to be eager to hear all the time. And now let's go a little bit to the story. This chapter begins actually where that we know Prithu Maharaj did 99 sacrifices, and Indra was actually envy of him because he was afraid of his own position that actually Prithu Maharaj could take up his position as Indra if he would complete the 100 horse sacrifices. And that's why Indra stole from the last yagya, from the 100th yagya, he stole the horse. But actually now afterwards he recognized that he was not right, he did a mistake. And then Indra went to Vishnu and tried to apologize and ask for forgiveness from Prithu Maharaj. But actually, it's also interesting, he don't came alone. Actually, we can, if we really, what means study, we have maybe not so much time, but if we go into the details in the verses, it's often very nice to see how these elevated personalities are behaving. Also in this example, Indra was not going alone to Prithu Maharaj. Prithu Maharaj was also a very advanced personality. But actually he went with Vishnu himself. And Vishnu began to speak to Prithu Maharaj, and he told to Prithu, Indra was asking me to ask that you should please forgive him. It's interesting that he don't ask himself, but he asked through Vishnu actually. And interesting is that Vishnu told to Prithu Maharaj, he instructed him more or less, forgive him, forgive Indra. And then actually he is also explaining why. Because he told, actually somebody, he gives an example, somebody who is working all the time for the benefit, or we could say more or less for the spiritual benefit of others all the time. Such a person is an elevated person. It's a very elevated person, and such a person is never angry to somebody. And actually, Vishnu is slightly hinting to Prithu Maharaj, to his position. And actually, then he also says to Prithu Maharaj, yes, because you are an advanced personality, you have to forgive him. And actually, Vishnu is also saying, you should not allow yourself to be bewildered by the material energy, or we could say by envy. And afterwards we will hear a little bit more also about envy. And Vishnu is telling also to Prithu Maharaj, otherwise, if you so-called lost your intelligence, you will really lose your pious activities. You will lose your piety. If you act in a wrong way, if you don't forgive him, you will lose your good fortune actually. It's very interesting. And then afterwards he's giving him more and more instructions, more detailed instructions. And afterwards Vishnu is also telling to him, if a personality whose mind or whose heart is more clarified, such a person is all the time in a, in a peaceful, in Gleichmut, in an equipoised mood. He is very balanced, he's very neutral, he's very peaceful, Shanti. And then afterwards, Vishnu also describes the duties of a king, because Prithu Maharaj is a very pious king. And we can say Vishnu is remembering him. Look, you know what your duties are. And he's actually remembering him. And then Vishnu also tells him that somebody who is like equipied in the heart of those personalities, I'm sitting myself, Vishnu is telling. But this is, but people who are not equipoised, such people has no chance that I take a seat or I take place in their hearts. Vishnu is telling very, very interesting instructions, very, very nice to follow the whole path. That's why I try to speak about these whole points, because now we are on interesting points, but actually everything is interesting in the Bhagavatam, but that we can try to go in and also into the details, how it came to this story, and that we can hopefully try to learn something out of it if we are facing such or similar problems or situations. I mean, maybe somebody sees something as problem, somebody sees something as an opportunity to grow, and there is another interesting verse where the Srimad Bhagavatam, where Maitreya is speaking, and actually to Vidura, and he's telling to him that Prithu Maharaj took the instructions from Vishnu, what we hear now, to his head. And then Srila Prabhupada is explaining what it means to, what this actually means, that Prithu Maharaj took these instructions to his head. And Prabhupada is explaining that Prithu Maharaj was completely, on that point, Prithu understood and he surrendered really to Vishnu's orders. He understood what Vishnu advised him, and he surrendered practically to his advice. And that was meaning that he also offered obeisances. I don't know if he really did it, but at least in his heart, he was surrendered. Or Prabhupada is explaining that actually, if somebody is really surrendered, then he's offering to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to his lotus feet, his obeisances. And that should really mean not that we do it only with our body, we did our obeisances, we did it, but that we really surrender, that we really follow his instructions. This is actually Prabhupada's point, and this is very, very important. And Prabhupada is also explaining in the purport to this verse that he's telling we should not, we should not verbessern, we should not correct. We should not correct this knowledge, actually Krishna's knowledge, or we should not add something to it, or we should not take something away from it. We should accept it as it is. And this is often maybe not so easy, but still we have to work on it maybe all the time, that we really take up this absolute knowledge as it is. Actually, Prabhupada also translated his Bhagavad Gita as it is, because Prabhupada was very conscious about this point that we conditioned souls tend to these things, to add something, to give something away, to give our own speculations, our own explanations, but this is actually not what's coming from the Supreme. And that was also a very interesting point. And after that point, that Maharaj Prithu surrendered to Vishnu, understood the meaning of the instructions. Actually, on that point, it was very interesting, Indra was really ashamed. On that point, Indra realized, ooh, I did something really wrong. Actually, it's interesting, actually, somehow we could say Vishnu is correcting, or somehow is correcting and advising Prithu. Indra is listening, but out of this transcendental advices, also Indra is influenced, and he sees how Prithu is reacting, and Prithu is also melting, because actually we could say he was also a little bit like agitated from Indra's behavior. It was not completely, I mean, we could say even maybe not completely pure. I don't like to say it, because we know who is Prithu Maharaj, but still Bhagavatam is actually further explaining that Indra was very ashamed, and out of this shame, Indra fell to the floor and paid his obeisances to Prithu Maharaj, to his lotus feet. It's a very interesting scene. And then it is described in one verse that on that point, also Prithu was very compassionate. He saw Indra's, that he was so much ashamed. And then the Bhagavatam is describing on that point, Prithu could give up his envy. It's interesting. That's why I was thinking, Prithu was envy. But maybe we see even such transcendental personalities, maybe this is not such an envy what maybe we know amongst us often, or hopefully not by you, but I know this by myself. And I try to work on it sometimes. It's not so easy. And we face all the time or time by time, again and again, situations where our envy is challenged, and we have to work on it. This is often not so easy to see it in a very clear vision, maybe who is right, who is wrong. And once somebody told me, I think it's from a sannyasi, but I don't know who he told, but at least he told, we can fight for our rights, or we can get the mercy of Krishna, what we like. We can try to have rights, we are right, or we can say, okay, maybe I'm even right, but okay, I give up and I get the mercy from Krishna. And actually, this situation almost now we have, and this is interesting, it was also interesting for me to hear that maybe Prithu's transcendental envy, we could say, but he even gave up this. And we could even say that Prithu was in a right position. He was not, absichtlich, by purpose? One purpose? He was not by one purpose doing something wrong. He did only his sacrifices for a good purpose. But with this, he agitated Indra, actually. And that's why this, this special situation came. And then, what's very interesting and was really interesting for me after this situation, what we hear now with Indra and Prithu gave up his so-called envy, it is described, the Bhagavatam is describing that Prithu's ecstasy in his devotional service increased. This is really interesting. Actually, he was also freed somehow by his small part maybe of envy, what we hear from the Bhagavatam. And so that he could give this up, his ecstasy was increasing. And he was not fighting so-called for his rights. And on the other side, we hear actually he got the mercy of Sri Vishnu. And Sri Vishnu was really satisfied with him. And then actually Vishnu even told him, yeah, you can actually ask for me some benediction, ask what you like. This is like a common thing we hear often in the Bhagavatam with advanced personalities who are very dear to Krishna or to Vishnu in this case. And then they get blessings, and then often they hear, okay, you can get what you like, choose something, whatever you like. And then it's very interesting because this is now also connected to our verse where we are. Prithu was asking for blessings to have millions of ears. That he can hear from pure devotees. And actually now this is also more or less our point. What we was hearing also from Lakshmi Devi, that she is also eager to hear from the glories of the Lord and and she also, how to say, established or accepted this high value of chanting the holy names of the Lord. And now actually we are here on this point. And actually maybe shortly to come back to this point, actually Vishnu also instructed Prithu Maharaj about the duties of a king. This is also interesting. And he told Prithu Maharaj that a king should be, pious. A king should be pious, and he should look after the well-being of the soul, after the well-being of the whole population, of his, seine Ergebenen, die Bürger, thank you, for his citizens, and he should be righteous. He should look that everything is in the right order. And this we also heard that actually the king should act according Krishna's order. That's it actually. And then he is righteous. Then nothing can go wrong. And on the other side is also told, but if a king is so-called misusing his power, or what is vernachlässigen? He's neglecting his duties, then actually the intelligent class of men, how to say, and sorry, my English words are not so good. Was is entthronen? Then the intelligent class of men should take over the king from his throne. Then he should take throning.
You want to take him off the throne.
Yeah.
Dethroning.
Dethroning. Thank you. Then they should dethrone the king. Actually, the intelligent, so-called the brahmanas. And we heard also before Prithu Maharaj, King Vena was actually acted not in such a pious way, and actually more or less this happened. The brahmanas reacted, and they don't want it that Vena in such a cruel way is ruling further. It was not okay. And this is also interesting that it's described that this intelligent kind of man, so-called the brahmanas, even if they dethrone the king, they are not doing it out of selfish motivations, because Prabhupada is describing in Bhagavatam, because they have way more better things to do than to take the throne. They have way more important things to do. And before we heard, they are engaged in the welfare, actually the spiritual welfare of the society. And it's also interesting that Bhagavatam is mentioning this. And we also know from the Bhagavad Gita, from the 16th chapter, what are actually demoniac behavior of personalities, that they are proud, that they are, what is überheblich?
May I sympathize to you? They have big false ego.
They have a big false ego. They are in themselves, how to say, self-satisfied. I don't know. They are a little bit. They are different. Sorry, I cannot translate all these words. They are sometimes angry. They are sometimes harsh with other people's. They are not conscious about the truth, or they are in, we could say they are in tamagun, about different topics. They are not aware of different topics, and Yeah, and afterwards also the Bhagavad Gita is describing further to these topics that such personalities don't know how to act and don't know what should be done. And they also don't know what is real cleanliness, we could say also externally or internally. They don't understand these topics. And they're not righteous, also wahrhaftig. They are not acting according to the absolute truth. They are not representing actually the absolute truth. They are not acting according to this. And maybe now shortly to this topic, because Prabhupada mentioned, or actually he gave a big importance to this topic, Arya, in the purport. I think everybody of you recognized it, or Prabhupada started his purport with Arya, with this topic Arya, what we also hear in the verse. And I tried to look up a little bit about this word, and interestingly, I don't know why, but I found in the 10th canto the word Arya. It's making completely not much connected, but there is in one verse this word is connected, or the meaning of this verse Arya is by my elder brother. And actually there is Krishna is speaking, and he is, how to say, connecting to his elder brother Balaram. And it's interesting. Yesterday was now we celebrated Balaram's appearance day. I don't know, maybe it's true, maybe not, but this word Arya in this verse is translated with my elder brother when Krishna is speaking, and it's like with the same letters. Also in another part in the Bhagavatam is Arya translated with Lord, the Supreme Lord, but without the, how to say, the, anyway, without is this A und der Strich über den the diacritics, yeah, that's a little bit different. But in the before one, in the 10th canto with Balaram connected, it is somehow connected to Balaram. Who knows? Anyway, only like a short point. But on one point also, Prabhupada is, I found something where in other texts where Prabhupada is also writing or speaking about Arya, and Prabhupada is speaking, yes, these is a very, very civilized society. They are described as very advanced, actually in spiritual life. And Prabhupada is telling that the meaning of Arya means, so far in Sanskrit, very advanced. It's actually advanced. And he's speaking that this word is actually originally from Sanskrit. This has nothing to do with our words. But he's telling, now we're hearing this word, we're using these words, but actually it's originally from Sanskrit. And also Prabhupada is explaining to the word Arya, he's somebody who at least knows somebody who has knowledge. It's interesting. They themselves have also knowledge and practicing it so far as possible, but also know others, or maybe more advanced personalities who have also knowledge. Or that means they follow acharyas. We could conclude. And Prabhupada is also mentioning, and very nice example, he is telling like the story or a part of the discussion between Krishna and Arjuna on the field of Kurukshetra, where actually Krishna also, how to say, declared or bezeichnete also Arjuna as an not Arya, actually. Krishna told to Arjuna, or spoke to Arjuna, like you speak like a not Arya. At one point, actually, Krishna spoke to Arjuna, you are speaking like a not Arya, if he lamented. And Krishna is using these words to him, you are speaking like a not Arya. Because this is not, how to say, es ziemt sich nicht für eine, sorry, it's not, you should not speak like a not Arya. You should do an Arya, you should speak like an Arya, or think and or act like an Arya. And yeah, and something about chanting, I would like to read something because now we had different topics, maybe a little bit dry, but I found something from Sharanagati, and I would like to share with you. And actually, also this is connected to our topics, what we had now with Gurudev, with grace and gratitude. And that's why I was specially attracted to this part of description from the Sharanagati. I would like to read for you. I translate it in English. One moment, I have to try again. Okay, now we have it. Okay. And that means the path of grace. And this is also now connected. I chose this because we heard on the end from Lakshmi Devi about chanting and glorifying. And this is connected to the chanting and also to grace. And that's why I was very inspired. I would like to share with you. The beauty of Bhakti Yoga, unlike other yoga systems, is that all processes depends more or less on the mercy of the Guru and Krishna. On other yoga paths, success is achieved through personal skill, austerity, and effort. On the Bhakti Marg, however, the attainment of the goal of prema does not depend on the mechanical system of hearing and chanting. It depends solely on Krishna's causeless mercy. There is Lord Chaitanya speaking. Guru Krishna Kripa, by the mercy of Guru and Krishna. If Sri Guru and Krishna are fully satisfied with one's sincere efforts, one can be blessed with divine wisdom and spiritual perfection. It is simply a matter of mercy and nothing else. The path of devotion, Bhakti Yoga, depends eternally on the Lord's mercy. Therefore, one must seek mercy, beg for it, hope for it, and pray for it. Gaudiya Vaishnavas understand this principle, which is why they always pray to Sri Guru and the merciful Vaishnavas of the past and present for mercy, blessings, and guidance. This is especially true for chanting the holy names, for which we have little or no liking or attraction. Heartfelt prayers will attract the attention of Krishna and his devotees. Through their causeless mercy, one will gain the strength to chant, the liking to maintain it. So we will get the strength actually to heartfeltly chant the Maha Mantra. There is one other nice verse. It's a short verse. Ekaki amara nahi payabala harinama sankirtane tumi kripa kori shuddha bindu diya deho Krishna nama dane. Alone, I have absolutely no strength to chant the holy name of Lord Hari. Please, O Vaishnava Thakur, be gracious by giving me a drop of faith and grant me to the great treasure of the holy name of Shri Krishna. I would like soon end. I prepared a little bit more. We have 9 minutes more to breakfast. I think everybody is hungry. And I think some of you have to leave, unfortunately, or maybe after breakfast. Only at this point, I would like also to thank you very much for your association. Often we cannot have that much of it, but still also maybe this, how to say, how is it called, active or passive association, but still also I think or realize often also sometimes so-called passive, is this also in English? Passive association can be also nourishing. It depends on how we try to see it, what's our mentality. And actually, I think yesterday I meditated about this passive association, that sometimes we cannot have with many God siblings so much association, but sometimes still this passive association is also nice, to see each other, to feel each other, to be with each other, to serve with each other, sometimes active, sometimes passive service, but even we see each other and we know something, oh, what is she doing or he doing, or what she did or what he did. And this is also very inspiring, and I'm very thankful for your association, even if it's sometimes a little bit passive. But still, thank you for your association. I'm looking forward, like Gurudev told, hopefully for next year also. Would be nice. I think it's a really nice opportunity. I personally was often missing, how to say, this Vyasa Puja celebration from Gurudev, because it was in the time of the Prabhupada Marathon. It's often really difficult, and we are on the street and distributing books, and hardly we could a little bit, how to say, enter to the through internet a little bit into the connection, but we could not connect that much and cannot sit there 2-3 hours and watch and how to say, follow the whole celebration. And so on the first time I attended also like a Sangha where I could also more absorb all the association, and it was really nourishing, it was really nice, and I thank to all of you, even to those who are not anymore here, but hopefully next year again. And yeah, actually I think we should end here. I prepared some nice verses also from Lakshmi Devi, but I think maybe for the next time. Maybe you have some comments, some questions, some corrections. I would be happy. You also know the heart of Gurudev and what he may liked or may not liked. Mataji, maybe at first. Stas.
Hare Krishna, thank you for a really nice class. If I understand correctly, you mentioned from this story from Srimad Bhagavatam, and now the question comes like, if we do the mistake, we're losing piety. This is like in general, or it was just the case for this lila?
I mean, I don't. I was not searching or for this special topic like deeper. Maybe could find more informations about it if you really like to research. But actually, Gurudev gave me not so long ago the instruction I should, how to say, try to go into the topic hermeneutics. I was a little bit shocked at first, and after I was looking up, and actually it's really an interesting topic, hermeneutics too. I don't know in English, so I cannot explain English so good, but to try to explain, or to explain maybe some different topics, maybe from Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita, what's sometimes like we can understand it in this way or maybe in that way. So, and this is maybe one of these topics. I could go into it also, but it's maybe my speculation. But I think it's, I mean, if we try to understand the scene, what was going on here, we need to understand that Prithu is a very elevated personality, expansion from the Supreme, and he's very empowered. He was actually coming because the Brahmanas actually dethroned the king before, and he was replacing this crucial king, and he was actually like a manifestation of a perfect king, so called. He was really, we could say he was perfect. And in his duty, actually that was his duty, to come to replace Vena, and to rule in a pious way, to do his duties, his righteous, kingly duties. But on this point, and this is also a very interesting point also for me, maybe we could say I'm also like in a similar situation now. It's very interesting, and if I don't tell you the story, it's a little bit intimate, but to try to understand or to try to figure out sometimes when situations, and I also know in this what is right and what is wrong. If I analyze, and I try to analyze, I'm a brahmachari, I try to all the time to reflect also on myself and sometimes on other things. We have to, otherwise we cannot grow in spiritual life. And sometimes we analyze many things through the scriptures, and we can somehow understand, but on the end point, we still cannot find the end dot. We say, wow, if I understand it from this way or from that way, it makes sense, and is it this and that, and I'm right, and this, and it should be so. But on the end, and actually I'm now on the point where I'm realizing, and I have to ask Gurudev for some advice. That was my realization, because from Shastra, it makes sense, what I'm thinking, what I'm seeing. But on some other subtle, transcendental platform, it somehow don't fit together. And maybe somebody's maybe so-called maybe not right. Like in this situation, Indra was actually who we saw. Actually, he was the, how to say, the, I don't like to say the boo guy. He did something wrong actually, and visibly Prithu not. But it's interesting that even in this situation, even Prithu was a little bit not completely 100% right. But only because of Indra. Actually, we could say he was right because he reacted on Indra's action. We could say, or he reacted in a way. Maybe there we don't hear so much details, but we can guess, because I think otherwise Vishnu would not say to him these topics, and because he told him. On the beginning, if you can remember, he instructed him, don't be this and that. Otherwise, a righteous person who is all the time, he started with this, who is all the time engaged for, actually we could say he mentions that the duty of the brahmanas, but also he mentioned the duties of a kshatriya, because he has also similar things to do, to be righteous and to be pious, be to well-wishing to the society. Also the brahmanas, but also the kshatriya, and a little bit different slides, but still. And he mentioned that such persons are never, how to say, böse, they are never angry, they are never in a bad mood to somebody. Never. It's really hard. If somebody offends you and somebody is really doing something, what you see, this is actually, I mean, come on, this is visible, more than visible. But still, we should be nice and forgiving, and this is not easy, and I'm also struggling now with this point, and should ask Gurudev what is his decision, because from different points it makes sense, but from different points I don't get the conclusion. But if Guru says something, do this or do that, then you follow it, and then that's it, that comes from Krishna. And this is sometimes, and in this case we also hear this, and Vishnu is telling him, okay, do this, and give up your envy. I mean, we could say it can be really pretty envy, but may in a very, very slight portion, he was maybe a little bit envy. In that sense that he was like, come on, why are you so stupid? You come here and still like, come on. And still his small spark of maybe so-called envy was not okay. And Vishnu clarified it or took him away. Don't do this. And if he really recognized and really saw, okay, he's right, I take this, he surrendered, and then he became really happy. Then he was really completely effulgent, and his service was really enlightened. And then also, interestingly, Indra could really surrender and really be ashamed. And then he really saw his position and his fault. It's really interesting. Anyway, I hope it's also for my clarification, the story. And I hope I could somehow answer it. But really interesting topics to go in. Maybe more in the future. Please bless me that I can go into a little bit hermeneutics and then explain such topics. Be interesting. Mataji?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
You mentioned a point that we should not correct what's in the Bhagavatam, and we should not correct what Krishna said and what Prabhupada translated. So at that point, I remember the question that I had this question for a long time in my head, like, why is it written in the Bhagavatam that the planet Earth is like flat and not round?
Ooh, the flat Earth question. I need to tell you really honestly, that was never my favorite topics. I never went into these topics. Everything with cosmology and whatever with the universal form and the distances and Brahma's age and days, and it was for me like, oh my God, please give me peace from these topics. I never went into it because it never made sense for me, and I could not. It was not for me practical. I could not act with it. I could not use it usefully in my devotional service, and that's why I don't skip it completely. I respect it, accept it in some way that is a relevant topic somewhere in the Bhagavatam or some scriptures, but I never went in there. I think there are way more elevated devotees who can explain more. But even I sometimes also asked, or I could also never really get a complete 100% satisfactorily answer. Even I think from persons who are dealing with these topics, it's a little bit, some few topics are even in the Bhagavatam what we cannot really grasp that much. It's a little bit far away. It's really hard with our senses, incomplete things to understand, to grab it. And sorry, I don't like to take some, maybe you, Prabhu, then I'm happy.
This comes from
That's nice. It's on it? No. Thank you. Now.
Hello. All right. So I've heard Sadhupuda talking about this very topic, and what he explained is that evidently, the Earth is is like a ball, but when we speak of Bhumandala, it's what the Vedas is referring to is the plane that the Earth planet is on, and that is called Bhumandala. So it's not something we can see, it's not something we can walk across, but it is this very extensive plane that exists across the solar system.
Yeah, and this is flat.
And that's a flat plane.
But not our Earth planet.
That is the Bhumandala.
But not our Earth planet.
The Earth planet is part of the Bhumandala.
Yeah, but this is round.
Of course. Yeah. Otherwise, it's very hard to to understand how airlines would be able to go all around in the different, and it all connects up. There's
it would be not make
there's
sense.
no doubt about it being round.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
But the Bhumandala is something else.
Yeah.
Is what it comes down
It's
to.
a different platform, a bigger platform.
Yeah,
so
and it's probably because it talks about the different islands.
Yeah.
That's something that's on a subtle platform or something like that.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Prabhu. That makes sense, hopefully, Mataji.
So the solar system is like
No, it starts.
no, just
The next seminar.
Yeah, it's like this. It's like a disc.
okay.
Oh, Subal had also? Oh, Mataji has one other one. Shortly. Only somebody who likes to go to take breakfast, please feel free. I stay a little bit if somebody have some questions, but please go to.
Is it like the disk where our planet Earth stands on, and which? So I don't understand it. Why is there like a disk? Is it just there, or does it have like a special place in our universe, like it's holding the Earth in the place, or why is it there?
We should ask Vishnu. Mahavishnu, what's going on here in the universe? Yeah. It should come from the Supreme, otherwise it would not be. He's also under the instruction. It's but maybe if you're really interested, try to read the topics. Maybe you can get out more. I was never interested so much. Oh, maybe you can ask Prabhu, and it makes more sense. Okay, thank you very much. Subal had a short question maybe, and then we can end.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. In the last quotes from Bhaktivinoda Thakur, it was mentioned, for example, we cannot attain perfection by the mechanical process of hearing and chanting, but only by the mercy. Maybe you could a little bit elaborate on that, because also this endeavor must be there, right?
Thank you very much for the question. I'm still not on this point that I got this mercy, unfortunately, but we are on the way. And personally, for me, it was also very enlightening. Wow, yes, we are doing this, we are doing that, we are doing whatever else, we are preaching, we are reading, we are chanting, we are... And sometimes we fall maybe, I recognize by myself slightly, sometimes we're falling in, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, maybe we become even pride out of it a little bit, or it nourishes the false ego. But actually on the end of the day, so-called, it's like the mercy of our Guru and the mercy of Krishna. And that was a nice remembering also for me, that yes, we are doing, but actually the mood behind is important. We are doing, but why? We should not only do it dry, okay, I did it, and I did it good, and I did it all the time, I did it, but I'm doing it 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, whatever. We should do it in a nice mood for Gurudev and for Krishna's satisfaction. We should at one point go into a deeper or a more, in like a more conscious meditation. So hopefully if we come more to Sattva Gun, we are not so rajasic or not so tamasic that we only doing something. We are meditating, or we are aware about what or how we are doing. And yeah, I have to work on it a lot, but it's still nice sometimes to remember it, why we are doing, for whom we are doing, with which kind of motivation, with which kind of, where is our heart. Hopefully it gives some little. Sorry, I have not so much experience in it. Thank you for the question. Okay, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.